Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Oh man, what was that game, guys? What was that game? A horrible first half by Napoli. Horrible first half. We can't keep giving away 45 minutes like that, like we did with Union Berlin, like we did with Fiorentina, like we did with Lazio, like we have done now. We're just like we did against Genoa and Bologna. This is a team that is not able to play for the full 90 minutes. Whether we give away the first or second half, whatever the case may be, we did it again this time. And there was an atrociously bad first half where Milan could have been 3, 4 goals ahead, where every time a cross came in, it seemed like they were going to score. And then finally, guys, Napoli woke up in that second half. Garcia, to his credit, he made mistakes in the first half, but then he fixed those mistakes in the second half. To a larger extent, it was the players themselves who were showing that desire, no, to score, to save the result. And Milan for 20 minutes didn't really know how to respond, right? Now, this Milan team, guys, I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're that good. Um, they suffered a very confused Napoli in the end of the day. Like, this was a Napoli that was playing in a 4-4-2 for the first time really at the second half, and they suffered that. And I still think that the best team in this Serie A is Inter. And this Milan team, we should have come away with a win, in my opinion. Honestly, judging on how on on the team that I saw in front of us, I think this Napoli team, with a better coach, with a better setup, could have done better. So that's that. But I did put a poll. What you guys think would have been a fair result? And obviously, very few of you are pointing towards a loss right now. The majority is saying a draw, and a few of you guys are saying a win. I think based on what we saw, a draw was a fair result. But just based on what could have been, if we had played proper football and not been so leaky at the back in the first half, then I think we should have won. And we'll get into the mistakes that Garcia made and all that. But I first want to just see some of your comments, guys. Um, and yeah, let's see. Danger says, "What a match! The best of the year." It, I don't know, man. It was a tough game, man. Puerto Rican says this was a good game. Napoli fans should be happy. We showed character today. That's true. That's one thing that I liked about us, is that if there's one thing that we salvaged this year from this group of from these first 10 games of the season plus the ones in the Champions League, is that the players really care. They really care because they've come back from behind before. This is the second time now, or even third time this season, that we've gone behind and we've either drawn the game or won in some cases, like against Frosinone at the start of the season. And to be fair, they're not giving up. This group of players is not giving up, man. Um, they're honoring the team, the fans, everything. So that's one positive. And yeah, unfortunately, I think we as we said, we're not able to just string 90 minutes together. Tamiya said it hurt me to see Kvara at the end of the game. Yeah, for sure. That was the moment that could have won the game, man. But at the same time, Calabria had that for Milan a minute before, and it was just that kind of game where it really could have been either us or them. Obviously, when you have Calabria with a chance in the 93rd minute, maybe you don't expect them to score, or the chances of scoring with a Calabria goal in the 93rd minute are less than 50%. When you have Kvara on the ball, then your chances are maybe a bit higher that you're gonna score, and so it's more painful maybe if you don't. But Magnan pulled off, I think, also a good save over there, and it was on Kvara's weaker foot. So yeah, but man, it's frustrating. Oh man, it's a frustrating result, man. It makes it also difficult to comment this game because how do you comment a game that's so different the first half to the second half where it could have gone either way? Both teams will be happy and disappointed with this result. Honestly, you can't say you're 100% disappointed because we were losing 2-0, but you can't say you're 100% happy, right? Because we had the chances. We had the chances, man, in the second half. Kvara is cursed against Milan, says Georgie. Every time he tries most, but he can't score. Even Politano missed a good assist for him. Yeah, Kvara, man, against Milan has a bit of bad luck. Uh, at the end of the day, like if you think about the Champions League last season, Kvara missed very early in the first leg an opportunity to go 1-0 for us, or maybe it was the second leg, whichever one it was, but like in the first minute, open goal. So he's super unlucky against Milan, which is just unlucky for us, out of all the teams to be unlucky. um People will remember Kvara's miss instead of Politano's. No, I don't think so. Look, Kvara's miss was a good a good play by Kvara, first off, to beat Calabria, to get a shot away, and I think that it's not so easy. Politano's miss is more serious. It's much more serious. Politano's miss. If anything, we'll remember Kvara's because it's the 93rd, but it's not his fault that we didn't win, guys. Um, Paul Rican says Politano's shot was tough, though. Zevdan says, yeah, Politano's miss was really bad. Kvaratskhelia chance to prove himself against the Milan supporters. Yeah, that's true. I think from a whole Leao versus Kvaratskhelia type of thing, which is always kind of talked about, I think if Kvara would win a game against Milan in the 93rd minute, in a game where Leao hasn't really done too much, I think it would have put a lot of the haters and that too. He would have shut up a lot of the haters, but neither player was able to score a goal today. So the debate on Kvara versus Leao is still gonna be a debate for the near future. Unless someone does something, unless someone did something today, it's still gonna carry on for the next time they see each other. Blue Line says subs during halftime. Garcia's very good doing that. It's not his first time, maybe not that much, but he's good in this. What do you think about that? Yeah, let's talk about that thing about Garcia making subs in between the first and second half. Look, I think it's good that he realizes that he's made a mistake, and to be honest, credit to him because maybe some coaches would have tried to continue with the formation that they put out, but because man, he made three changes. He made three changes in between the first and second half. At the same time, he has to. He has to do this, guys. He's If we lost this game, Garcia would have been sacked. It's that straightforward. So there's no amount of pride, that should get in the way. He needs to focus completely on at least trying to salvage a result, rather than his pride. And so he had to just go for the Hail Mary, go for the desperate move. The problem is that we're in the 10th game of the season, and Garcia's already done two or three desperate moves to save his job. And 10 games, 5 wins, that's not good enough. That's not good enough when you're champions, guys. It's not good enough. So, yeah. But having said that, we technically did better. We technically did better now 2-2 against Milan at home than Spalletti did at home against Milan when we lost 4-0. Obviously, guys, I'm kidding. Very different situations, but still, but still. Danger says sell Elmas like Lozano and buy new players should be the next step for Napoli. Yeah, I think at this point in the winter you have to, right? Elmas, if you're not gonna use him in the best way, if you're gonna embarrass him by not playing him, and then for many games, and then when you do play him, you take him off in between the first and second half. And if it seems like he's not able to play well under Garcia, and you insist on having Garcia as a coach, then at that point you have to then I think about selling him. Let me give a big thank you to Payman Dadgar, man. Thank you once again for supporting the channel. Payment says even in the halftime, in the second half, we had 25 good minutes like Real. Due to fight and not game plan. I 100% agree with you. Garcia also went for a draw, and Anguissa and Zanoli for two offensive players. Garcia out. Look, Anguissa, I feel like we had to. I think we had to play either Anguissa or Cajuste or someone in the midfield had to come on because we were playing with two midfielders and they were doing a lot of running, a lot of filtering. So it was okay for a midfielder to leave. The Anguissa change, I'm not too upset about. I'm upset that Anguissa didn't play well. That I'm upset about. The Zanoli one, yeah, that was. Look, Zanoli, I don't mind him as a player. I don't want this to come the wrong way. I don't mind him as a player. I think he's good. I think actually in these type of games where you have a guy like Leao on the other flank could be a decent smart option because he is able to go forward and also track back, and he tracked back actually once really well. The only problem I have with this is that, as you say, we could have maybe gone a little bit more offensive. We could have gone a little bit more offensive and put on Lindstrom. And man, I feel bad for this guy. He's a decent player and he's not getting the chance to play. Basically, he's never gonna start. He's never gonna come on when the game is tight, and Garcia is only gonna put him on as a sub if we're desperate for a goal. And it seems like Garcia today was more desperate for keeping it at 2-2 than a goal once we got the 2-2. Free Minds is in the first half. It felt like Milan were going to go up 4-0. Plus Meret was awful in both the Giroud goal. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Vesavi says, I think the thought that Napoli were closer to a win than a loss is recency bias. I kind of agree with that as well. Yeah, we have to consider the first 45 minutes. Overall, we were much worse in the first half and a little better in the second. I'm pretty sure XG will show that too. I agree with you. I think that we can feel disappointed not to win is the fact that had we played not really below our level in the first half, then I think we could have actually won the game. Because Milan, when they conceded the two goals against us, it's not because they were playing well below their level. It's not like they played bad. I mean, that's Milan's level. If Milan play at their level and Napoli play at our level, we should be beating them. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just that in the first half we were so below our level, both with a few individual performances such as Rachmani, but also because of the way that we were set up. It'd be interesting to have some Milan fans come on. This is the one time I kind of want some other fans in the channel. If you're a Milan fan and you happen to be watching this, like put down in the comments what you think. But thank you guys for so many of you tuning in. Make sure that you're smashing that like button, guys, and then we'll analyze. We'll look at some of the screenshots of the game. Elmas played good and showed character, says Laurentio. I don't think so. I disagree. I disagree. Awesome Comedy says, what do you think on our defense? What should we do to improve? I think Rahmani has played 3 really bad games. Really bad games, Rahmani, since he came back from injury. We had this whole Nathan Ostigard thing, which was going well for us. They did it for 5, 6, 7 games. Um, and then comes back, and we concede 1 goal against Verona because of him, because he's distracted. And I said, okay, maybe it's because he's getting back to full fitness. He hasn't really got the game tempo, under control. Then against Union Berlin, I felt like he also suffered quite a bit. And then now against Milan, 2 goals conceded. And yeah, it's, I think, maybe a question of going back to Ostigard and Nathan, because that's the only thing you can really change at this point. Right, let me see. I wanna give a shout out to Napoli Nation TV as well for the $4.99, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. He says, no doubt we are a better group of players, a bit better coach. We could be undefeated, honestly, with favorable schedule, difficult opponents, all at home. Yeah, I I agree, man. We are a better team than Milan, but we just don't have the coach. It's also, man, these first 10 games, or at least the first 9, we could have really gone on a 9-game winning run, or at least we should have been unbeaten. But instead, now we are still very far away from Inter and Milan, and now we have all the tough games coming up, right? We have Juventus, we have Inter, we have Roma, Atalanta. We have a lot of tough games coming up, and it's a shame that we've only picked up 5 wins out of 10. And I also want to give a big shout out to a good friend of mine, Khalid. Man, thank you for the nice sticker. Um, Guys, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Let's get some more comments, guys. Seems Elk.K says Meret and Ramani don't deserve the starting lineup. Rui seems okay at some games, better than Oliveira, but not at big games, or at least if Ossi is not playing. That's an interesting observation. I never thought about the fact that, does Mairo Rui play better when, or is he more useful to us when Osimhen is with us? So when you can cross the ball, when Osimhen or let's say when Osimhen or Simeone is playing, where you can cross the ball. But maybe when you have Raspadori, his crosses, which is a strong point for Mairui, are less useful, and so maybe at that point it's better to play Oliveira. I don't know. That's a very good take. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, guys. Let me put out another poll, and then I'll get to some analysis. Let me put on another poll, and let me ask you: Garcia in or out? And let's see what you guys say to this one. I want to see percentage-wise how we're doing here. Well, I will go and look at what happened during the game, guys. And yeah, let's start with the first half. And what happened in the first half, guys, is that Milan were attacking with numbers and they overcrowded the box. You can see in this case Leao, he crosses the ball. It's a bad cross. It goes straight to Rahmani, but you can see Pulisic making a run where Mairorui and Nathan leave a lot of space for Pulisic. But Milan have got 3 players in the box. They've got a 4th one coming in. Leao is pretty much in the box, so they just are crowding this box, and we just found it super difficult to deal with all the time. And then for us, we had center backs that didn't know what to do with the ball, didn't know who to pass it to. And, this is where a guy like Kim is really missed, right? Because in this situation, Rahmani is telling his teammates, where are you to receive a pass? You've got Zielinski up there playing as a, almost like a second striker with Raspadori, which will be then Simeone's role later on in the second half. You've got Elmas, Lobotka, and Di Lorenzo kind of being available, but not really because they're super marked. So what happens? Raspadori is forced from his attacking position to come down and collect the ball. The problem is that he's got his back to goal. So what does he do? He passes it back to Nathan. No, but let's go back a little bit. If this was someone with a bit more character than Rachmani, um, let's call him Kim, for example. If this was Kim, he would have taken this ball and he would have drive forward with it. It would have some Milan player would have had to try to intercept Rahmani's run, which would have freed someone else, and Rahmani then would have to find that kind of pass, right? But oftentimes when a defender goes straight into the middle, because everybody doesn't want to commit to then open up someone else, they kind of just let him go through, right? And we saw that with Kim. You guys remember that last year. He did that quite often, and it was useful, and it was a way to surprise the other team. Rachmani, I feel like he hasn't got enough personality. He waits for someone to come, even though he doesn't think ahead that actually this isn't helping, because Raspadori comes, he passes it to Raspadori, Raspadori passes it back to Nathan, and then we're back to square one, right? So, yeah, just a lot of lack of creativity in there. Let me get some of your comments before I continue. Anzurino says, "Smash that like button, guys." That's true, guys. For those of you that are not smashing that like button, just close the little chat. I know you're watching the little chat. Just close it. Smash the like button. Go back onto the chat. All right. Black Ocean 75 says, "The thing is that he is here since the summer and we struggle to win." Speaking about Garcia, guys, I'm gonna end the poll now because it's obvious. It's obvious. 80% of you are saying that you are Garcia out. Chirro, welcome to the show, says Meret probably should have saved the first goal. Second goal, no chance. He did have some more decent saves. I don't really think he's a problem today. Keepers let a bad goal once in a while. We even saw Magnan today make a few kind of mistakes, no? I mean, he had some good saves in the end, but for example, Politano's goal, if that happened to Meret, we would have been saying, oh, how can Meret be beaten like that, you know? And in fact, Chiro says, look at Magnan today. Napoli Nation TV says, anybody who said Garcia in needs to be seen by a doctor. Yeah. The only justifiable thing for Garcia in is like, if you think, all right, if we say Garcia out, then who do we get, right? And if Conte doesn't want to come, then do we really want to go back to Mazzarri? You know, so if you think of it in that sort of context, then maybe. Right, but let's look at again how Milan put us under pressure, guys, and this is the goal that they scored. As we see here, again, we've got 3 Napoli defenders, guys, 3 Napoli defenders in the box, 4 Milan players, right? So Milan overcrowded our box. It gave Rachmani a decision to make. Does he go and pick up Giroud, or does he go and pick up the front post, right? Ultimately, Rachmani is going to take the blame for this goal. But in theory, guys, we should not be in this position in the first place. If the midfielders or Politano or whoever the case may be need to understand that this situation is happening and try to help out their defenders, right? But we are too stretched out. The gap between the midfield and the defense is too much, and we're not able to cover our own box. Essentially, we're not able to defend our own box. Also, I think there was a bit of a say, mistake with Kvara here, because when Pulisic has this ball and Pulisic cuts towards the inside, Kvara, instead of covering that area, he takes a step towards Mario Rui, and it just opens up that space for Pulisic to cross the ball. You can see, look, let me go back. Kvara takes a step inside the box, opens up the space for Pulisic, and Pulisic is able to cross. Now, I'm not saying that this goal is because of Kvara. No, obviously. But it's the little details. Then there's the issue that Rahmani kind of does the opposite, right? I don't know if he's trying to play the offside or not, but he takes a step forward and doesn't read the situation very well. Giroud goes in behind him, and ultimately then gets a header on. And Meret should have done better. He gets a hand, as you can see, but it's not a it's not a strong hand, and it's not a hand that I think is what you need at this level. This is not a difficult save. This is this is right on him. He's not diving for this. It's not like he dove and was stretching. No, Meret is planted. He just has to move his hand, and he needs to have a strong a strong hand so that when the ball comes, it bounces off. Instead of having a hand like this, he kind of has it open like that, and the ball skids over. But you gotta have a hand like this, not like that. Anyways, Meret, we know his limitations, and this game will do nothing to help his case. So that's really a shame. Payman Dadgar says English coaches are horrible and bad at tactics. No Potter, please. In case some people were saying Potter coming in if Garcia goes out. Tony says Osti is better than Rahmani. He just needs more experience, and I think at this point we know Rahmani's level. He's not gonna improve. This is Rahmani's level, right? He's not gonna improve any more than this. This level, I don't think it's enough unless you have a guy like Kim next to you. We don't. So at this point, it's better to cut your losses and focus on developing Ostigard, who I think has a higher ceiling than Rahmani. Tudor is a horrible person, says Super Alexander. Yeah, there's a lot of bad choices, man, for managers. No Mazzarri though, says Payman. Yeah, I mean, with Mazzarri, it's like what a what a throwback if we get Mazzarri back, man. Tamiya says Nathan's passing in Brazil was so much better. He hasn't really shown that aspect with us. I would love Nathan to actually have a bit more. If Rahmani is not able to lead the defense in terms of finding nice vertical passes, I would love Nathan to try a little bit more. Anyways, let's move a little bit forward. This miss, guys, this miss was pretty bad. But I don't know, man. This is bad. This miss is bad, guys. You've got this cross coming in super fast, and yeah, Politano just doesn't put enough doesn't put enough flatness with his foot to push that ball across the goal. Instead, he leaves his foot a little bit too open, and yeah, this one is actually, you know what? It's actually a difficult. It's a difficult one. I remember. I missed a very similar opportunity once playing football, and ever since then, I stopped judging players when they miss these kind of situations, because actually it's not easy, because the ball is coming in super hard, low on the ground, maybe with a little bit of a bounce. So where you put your foot above the ground really matters. If you put it too high or too low, the ball could skid up over the crossbar, depending on how the ball bounces. So you got to get the bounce right, and then it's coming with such pace that if you close your foot too much, you go back across the goal. If you go too open, I don't know. I mean, it looks easy. It looks very easy. Or maybe I'm just a horrible. Maybe I just suck. Maybe I just suck. But I missed one of these before, and let me tell you, it's not as easy as it seems. But yeah, uh, I don't know. Obviously, at their level, they should be scoring. So I don't know why I'm comparing. I don't know why I'm comparing Politano to something that I did when I was 15. But yeah, just just horrible miss, I guess. No justifying it. Um, anyways, let's get to the second goal, guys. And this is a bit sad, no, as a second goal because actually in this goal, unlike the first one, we're positioned well. We've got Nathan, who is positioned as kind of a free defender in case there's a loose ball in the front. And then you've got a man-on-man situation, Rachmani on Giroud, uh, Di Lorenzo on Leao. But by the way, Leao is super tall. Like, look at that difference between him and Di Lorenzo. And then Politano and Teo Hernandez, right? And then you've got someone making the run, which is not getting picked up, right? I think here Elmas could do a little bit better there. I think Elmas is caught a little bit ball watching. But anyways, that's not important. The ball goes towards Giroud, and Rachmani loses out this battle, and it's not okay. It's not okay to lose out against a 37-year-old. I mean, this is your bread and butter if you are a center back. If you're really gonna lose this header, make sure that Giroud can't at least hit the target. No, like put enough pressure so he doesn't hit the target. But yeah, and then they had other chances to score in the first half. One that was missed like that. Another one where Leao shot was saved by Meret. Leao today tried twice to beat Meret on his front post because Leao's been trying to curl shots in for the past few games, not been super successful with it. This time he tried getting it in the front post, and still wasn't successful. Tamiya says Leao is 188 centimeters. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought he was like 180. All right. Let's see what else. Let's see some more comments. Guga is saying simply to say Politano overall is a decent player but has horrible right foot. Yeah, that's also true. Politano's right foot is pretty much inexistent. He improved it in the past year or two with some crossing, but it's very clear that he's never gonna take shots with his right foot, no, and isn't able to coordinate the angle exactly in these situations. All right, let's go to now the second half. And speaking of Politano, he does something brilliant here. A great goal. Sombrero dribbles past Theo and then smashes it past Magnan. But this is 100% a solo goal, right, by Politano. Milan have an opportunity later to tie the game, or to, sorry, not to tie, but to extend the game. They mess up. Napoli has a chance to tie the game here, where Di Lorenzo goes straight for goal towards Magnan instead of passing it back to Raspadori, who was free, which, but it was very obvious that we were piling on the pressure. And then we get this free kick, and Raspadori bends it like Beckham, and it's a beautiful goal. It's a beautiful goal. I mean, the bend here is insane, insane, guys. I don't know what your thoughts about this are, but this is A very, very nice goal. Um, Payman says, did you see what Politano said? He said the players looked at each other in halftime and said, we have to fight. I will not go to games anymore until Garcia is fired, says Payman. Yeah, I think it was very, very, very clear that something like honor ticked in the second half, and this team showed some fight, but there was no tactics, guys. There was nothing. There was. We went to this 4-4-2 with Simeone and Raspadori there. It didn't really change anything. It was just a matter of Napoli players just raising the intensity, no? Um, but yeah, Leao had a chance here again from this position. Tries the front post instead of curling it. Meret, to be fair, good save again. And then Nathan at the end gets a red card. This is a very soft red card. Like I don't understand. I don't understand what he could have done. To be honest, I mean, the Milan player has his foot, his leg in a bit of an unnatural position. I don't know. This is a bit harsh to give a second yellow like this. And then we get to the very end with Calabria missing this chance. And then a few moments later, Kvara missing his, where, yeah, this chance, man. This chance. Imagine, guys, imagine the Maradona Stadium if Kvara, just imagine the stadium if Kvara scored that. Oh my God, it would have come down. The whole stadium would have come down, guys. It would have been incredible, and the legend of Kvara, because he is a legend, man. The legend of Kvara would have been, it would have gone an even extra level, right? The this would have been a moment where if you take at the end of his career top 10 moments where he's like, wow, this was really like a highlight of my career. I think this could have been it, no? Like you're losing 2-0, it's 2-2, 94th minute, you score a goal at home in front of the Curva B. This could have been it, no? And also what it means to beat Milan, a team that has been a problem for us recently, a problem for Kvara in particular recently. This could have been it, and you can see how much it meant to these players, man, to not have won that game. This picture kills me, man. This picture absolutely kills me. Kills me, kills me, kills me. Um, Blue Line says Kim once said that the strongest attacker he faced was Giroud, and LK says Giroud has so much experience. It's true. Like he is one of the top 3 to 4 strikers in the league, and so Rahmani, it's not like he lost his duels against some amateur, but still, you gotta do better than that. And then I wanna segue right to something that Tamiya says, which is Politano is working so hard, though he said last year how much he wanted to score. And this is a great segue to the player ratings, no? Because, okay, I gave Politano and Raspadori and Kvara a 7 just because in the first half we were horrible, right? But they were probably like a 6 out of 10 in the first half and then an 8 out of 10 in the second. So it averages out to a 7. But guys, the crazy thing is, if you think about it, is that Garcia this year has Raspadori and Politano more than Spalletti had last year. Like, let me rephrase it. Raspadori this year and Politano this year are much better than they were last year. So he's got these 2 extra weapons that he can use. The rest of the team is pretty much the same. I mean, apart from Kim, right? But Kim left. I don't know why that point 0.5 is there from either way. Kim left. Nathan came in. It's not. It's not been the main reason why we've been bad. This whole thing of Kim leaving. It's been other things. It's been how Garcia sets up his team. But I mean, if you really think about this team, it's the same one Spalletti had, with even extra output, from guys like Politano and Raspadori. So it's crazy, man. Imagine how bad Garcia would have been if Politano had the same season as last season, right? So yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's just a little. That's just a little thought. That's just a little thought. 5.55 for Maida Rui is a legendary rating. Yeah, that point five was there since last time, which I forgot to give. But yeah, I should start giving two decimal places. Give people like 5.52, which is, or it's gonna make it already more abstract than what these player ratings already are, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're just based off vibes. There's no science behind these ratings. um Lorenzo Libutti saying Pioli out, thank you Napoli. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Um, does anybody? I'm seeing the comments. If anybody has any problems with these ratings, let me see. No, it seems like you guys are. Seems like you guys are not too in disagreement with this, actually. So obviously we've got our defense, which I have to give a bad score, because we could have conceded four in the first half. Rahmani was definitely the worst player, letting Giroud score twice. Elmas touched the ball once in the first half, lost it, and then obviously had to be substituted because he did nothing in that first half. We've lost Elmas, guys. Like this guy hasn't. It's been 10 games of the season now, plus three in the Champions League, so 13 games this season. Elmas has had the worst season so far since he's been at Napoli. We've lost him completely. Um, Di Lorenzo also, today he was pretty average. Same with Lobotka and Zielinski. It's thanks to those guys up top that we managed to pull 2 goals back. What they did in the second half was really quite special. Thought Ostigard came in, did well. Um, Oliveira, why has he got a 5? I'm gonna have to change that, guys. Oliveira 5, nah, that's mean. I don't know what I was thinking there. Let me give him a 6. We're gonna have to change that right now. All right. Let me see where. Okay, where did that go? Where did that go? Alright, I have no idea where that went, but there has to. Oh, there. Here we go. All right. Let me put a 6 to Oliveira, guys. I don't know why that is not appearing on the screen, though. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening there with. But anyways, pretend like Oliveira is a 6. All right. Let's just move on from that. Yeah, I thought he was slightly better than Maida Rui. To be honest, Maida Rui suffered a lot in the first half. Both of the goals came from his side. He's just letting people cross a little bit too easily. Same thing the last time that he was playing, whereas Oliveira did better. Again, ignore the 5. That should be a 6 for Oliveira. And Anguissa 5.5 because he came on towards the end of the game, but I would have expected a bit more impact from a guy like him. He's not been having the greatest of seasons, Anguissa, and that's a real shock because he's the only player that has already played with Garcia. So he knows what to expect. You'd think that he's used to, well, not used to because we've had Spalletti for a few years, but he would be the one that understands him the most, maybe. the one that feels a bit more responsibility and leadership, because he's done it before with Garcia. So yeah, Napoli Nation is saying Simeone below average. Maybe yeah, maybe he's not doing enough. I think Simeone, to be fair, could could be another 5.5. I didn't want to give him that low of a rating just because I gave him a really low one against Union Berlin, and I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to like ruin him too much, right? And also, if I start giving a 5.5 to Simeone, I have to probably drop the other guys that got a 5.5 or a 5 even lower because, I mean, yeah, Simeone was kind of absent, but not because he played bad, just because I think they didn't give him much service. Um, Napoli Nation Tees is saying, do a poll who thinks Adiele will not sign another striker with Osimhen and thinks Raspadori is our guy. All right, let's do a poll. Is Raspa our guy? Yes or no? In the context of, let's say, Osimhen goes to the African Cup of Nations, should we get another striker or should we keep Raspadori? Let's start this poll. Why not? Why not? Let's see what happens. Um, Blue Linus says we're used to your way of rating. Very very logic. Thank you, man. Although it's obviously it's obviously very difficult at times, no? Because in a game where you have two very different halves, the first half very different from the second, it's difficult. And then add, for example, Kvara's rating today was super difficult because first half, not really, but he made a very good pass to Politano, who should have scored. So that would have been an assist, but it wasn't. And then there was that chance at the end where he kind of created it himself, but then he didn't convert it. So how do you rate it? In the end, it has to be a 7, right? Because an 8 means that you've managed to change somehow the score line, no? 7 is you played well, but maybe you weren't able to change the scoreline. So maybe 7's correct, but I wonder if maybe some people think that it should have been an 8. I don't know. Old Heart Rossonero, welcome to the chat, man. Let me know what you think about this game, right? Let me put some put a as long of a comment as you can on this chat because it's good to get a Milan fan opinion on this as well. Like tell me something about this game that you want us Napoli fans to know. But yeah, Calabria. Look, Calabria didn't own him all game. Okay, if Kvara scores the last minute, then the history books will always have that goal, and it will just be a replay over and over of how Kvara managed to score on Milan with dribbling past Calabria. So it's not true that Calabria always had him. It was 50-50, okay? And it's also easy to have him when you have two players on him all the time. But no, I don't think it was. I don't think it was always Calabria. I think in the Champions League games last season, it was much more. It was much more last season. Eric Mauricio says, for me it was good, but we needed to win. The top four will be expensive this season. Let's let's see the stats, guys, of this game, and then we get to also the table. All right, so pretty even, I'd say. Slightly more in favor of Milan with shots, possession, pass accuracy, number of passes, because they had a very very dominant first half. For example, in the first half, Napoli had 0 shots on target. So 4 of these shots on target for Napoli all came in the second half. But yeah, let's look at the table, right? So Milan and Napoli, third and fourth, while we wait for Fiorentina and Atalanta. But it's more about the fact that, look, fourth is the target this year. No, just get back in the Champions League. But it's clear that those three teams are going to be those three teams above us, Inter, Juve, and Milan. They're going to be, I think, fighting a bit more seriously for the Scudetto. And Milan has already played against Inter, against Juve, against Napoli, against Roma, against Lazio. Like, they've already faced a lot of the big teams, whereas the other teams still have to play each other. We still have to play Inter, Juve, Atalanta, Roma, Monza. So it's not going to be easy for us, right? But yeah, these four points gap to Milan, not good. 7 points to Inter, not good either. Luckily, Roma lost today. Because, guys, I mean, Roma, if they had won today, they would have been 17 points, one behind us. And remember how bad they were when they started the season? At some point, they were 18th, and this would be the same team 1 point behind us. So, yeah, it's not good. And I mean, look at this, Lazio, right? 9 points and 9 games. So if they win their game, they go to 16, only 2 behind us. So we are fighting with Fiorentina, Atalanta, Lazio, Roma, Bologna for that fourth spot, guys. More than we are for the top three, which is a worrying thing. It's super worrying. Having said that, uh, Matt Marco says Dom for real sleeped in Monza like we wouldn't notice. Dude, Monza, Paladino with Monza, he's doing well with them. He's doing well. Um, but yeah, maybe I exaggerated there, saying that they're a difficult team to beat, or a big team to beat. I wanna end that poll with, yeah, Raspa is our guy. I wanna start a new poll. Like, do you think we're gonna get top four? Yes or no? Just a very simple, like, what do you think? What do you guys think about this season? What's if you had to put money on it right now, would you put Napoli in the top four? Yes or no? Because I feel like we've got the players, but if we keep dropping points, then I don't know. While you guys vote, I'm gonna go and see what Garcia had to say, guys, and then we're gonna call it a day. Okay? Let's see Garcia. All right. Garcia's press conference. All right, let me move the mic a little bit because it's actually blocking my screen. So let's see. If I do that, is that a problem? No, okay. All right. So let's see how that vote is going, by the way, before I start. So actually, a lot of you are saying that you guys think we will get that top four, which is interesting. It's very interesting. All right, let's see Garcia what he has to say. So, he said in the first half it was all about Milan. In the second half, it was all about Napoli. So obviously the result is a fair and normal one. We didn't do the first half that we wanted because there was a big, strong team against us, but we showed that we are too in the second half. When you let them cross and you give Giroud the possibility to win a header, then you are always going to be in difficulty. But it's always better to go from 0-2 to 2-2 than it is the other way around. They also hit the post, whereas we could have won it with Kvara at the end. So in the end, overall, a draw is fine. We need to make sure that we start games better. The fans today pushed us a lot, and whoever entered in the second half played well. Why did you choose Zanoli and not Lindstrom? And he says, because I knew that Nathan was going to get a second yellow, which is Garcia's got jokes, man. He's got jokes. Um, and then they ask him about playing Raspadori and Simeone together. And he says, I said it at the start. We have some resources with our three strikers. Osimhen, right now we don't have him, but we do have Simeone Raspadori. Jack can play in all the positions. I know that some people don't agree with me on that, but it's true that he can do that. He can play everywhere. When you're 2-0 down, it's correct to change the approach. There's not only 4-3-3 in football. Putting Raspadori in between the lines helps a lot. It depends on who's available at this moment, but I'm happy with the second half. The guys showed incredible desire and belief in their qualities. We need to make sure we build off of that. The guys, they train well every single day, but at the end of the day, we have another team in front of us, so we can't always do exactly what we want. We will analyze everything, and it's a shame that we didn't play well in the first half. They ask him, is it true that maybe we should have had a bit more at this stage of the season? And Garcia says it's not the end of the season. We're at 1/4. There's still time to win and make some consecutive wins in a row. Once we have 3 wins in a row, the table will change, because Garcia, every time we win 2 games in a row, he's always talking about it's important to get that third, and then we've never been able to get that third, no? But he's convinced that if you win 3 in a row, then that all of a sudden changes things, no? And I guess it does, because if you win 3 in a row, it's unlikely that your opponents have done the same. But just because there's always big games like, I don't know, for example, today was Inter Roma, no? So in theory, if you win today, whatever happens in that game, you either win points over Inter, over Roma, or over both, no? So if you win 3 in a row, the chances of that happening are more likely that in those 3 games, your opponents have matches against each other. So yeah, he says that. Then he says, at least today we were good not to concede too many counterattacks. We have 6 days to now prepare Salernitana, Union Berlin, and then Empoli. Regarding Elmas, he says, look, Elmas played as a mezzala in the midfield. He knows what he needs to do in the first half, and unfortunately not everybody played at a good level in that half. But I have 5 subs, and it's important that I use them. So that's Garcia, guys. So yeah, Napoli Nation TV says audio much better. Oh, nice. Okay, I'm literally like holding the microphone right here, guys, right now. But yeah, that's probably why. I can't always hold it that close though. It's kind of distracting. Cheeto says, should always push to be the best, but with Garcia I realistically can't see Scudetto, and I'm fearful to even think of top 4. Garcia's tactics and man management really has been dreadful. Yeah, it really, really has. Let me just go and see if any player has said something, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, Raspadori to Sky Sports. He says, we started well and then we had difficulty. I think it was the right thing to do to change things up in the second half. We were more organized. We revisited how to press them. And surely without the ball, we were much better. Then, he just says how some things has changed between the first and second half, and that he prefers playing as a striker. So, yeah, because they keep asking him, what position do you like to play best? And he's always saying that he likes to play a striker. Right. All right, guys. I think that covers pretty much everything. I'm gonna answer one more question, which is Black Ocean 75 asking, do you think Rudy will be out after the Champions League groups like Carlo did? And I am going to say, if Rudy Garcia is outside of the top four at any point after a loss, if he fails to be in the top four, then after a loss, then yeah, he's going to be sacked. Right now, for example, Fiorentina can pass us. So can Atalanta, actually. But I believe that it would be a bit harsh to sack him after a draw, especially against Milan. But for example, I don't know, if we lose to Salernitana or Empoli or any of these teams, then I think he's going to get sacked. If that means that we drop out of the top four because of a loss. Because De Laurentiis, man, he's going to want to protect that at all costs. Anyways. I think that's it, guys. I'm gonna go. It's pretty late. So I hope you guys enjoy your week. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. I hope the game was, even though the result wasn't super nice, at least it was fun in the second half. And as always, see you for the next time, and Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.